What's up, Grizz Nation? Welcome into 3 Point Stands presented by Mountain Dew. I'm Meghan Triplett. That is John Roser. He's got the dew. And let's just get straight to it. We start this week. It's been a weird week to start things off, but on the wake of the news of hearing about another police shooting involving Jacob Blake, he was shot 7 times in the back walking to his SUV. He is in ICU, and it's being reported now that he is paralyzed from the waist down. And this was the conversation, on Monday. Today is just more heartbreaking, exhausting news. And the sports world, it has talked a lot about it. LeBron, Chris Paul, a lot of people have been very vocal about this is what we've been talking about. This is what we've been trying to use our platform and protest and taking a stance. But here we are yet again adding another name to the list of countless senseless shootings when it comes to the hands of the police.
Yeah, I watched the video once. I did not watch it all the way through. After about the first 2 shots, I just muted it, stopped it, took it off my screen. Very uncomfortable to watch. Completely unnecessary. I mean, it's just totally. It's just complete. I mean, I don't know why we keep having to talk about this. Like, I mean, it's like, why? Like, this should not be something that we should be talking about. Like, this is very, like, I mean, you just tackle the guy. There are 2 of you and 1 of him. Just tackle the guy if you want to. But, like, there's no reason to just pull out your gun and shoot the person, you know? I mean, the person walked around to the driver's side of their car. You had that entire time. You just could have tackled the person if you really wanted to detain them or what. I mean, like, I know we're still waiting for all the facts to come out about what transpired. We've heard different stories or whatever, but you could just see from watching the video, there was no reason to shoot him. There's no reason for it. It's insane. I mean, it's exhausting that we're still having to talk about this.
Yeah, and it's exhausting, and like for those who are saying, like, why are we still talking about Breonna Taylor? Why are we still mentioning her name or George Floyd, and it's still asking for the police officers to be arrested and to be charged? This is another example of why we have to continue to talk about it. As exhausting as it is. Like, I'm tired of waking up every morning and worried, or like seeing a video and saying, oh, another one, and getting to that place of like why it's becoming so frequent and too frequent. And now it's a matter of, like, we mentioned it, the Grizzlies organization has mentioned it, like, the one thing that we can do and where it starts is voting. And why that's so important right now, because when it comes to these elected officials who we want to make a change and who we want to hear our voices, that's where it starts. And there's more to be done. There's more to be done. And we're at this place where we're trying to figure out what can we do. And a lot of the players have talked about that. George Hill mentioned it. He was like, this is why I didn't want to come to the bubble, because this is happening and I have to still go out here and play basketball. And then I come sit here and you ask me about basketball. And LeBron said it, it was hard for him to play yesterday. And that comes to our second stance of, we got to see a great performance by the Lakers on a day that was Mamba Day. And there was so much going on in the world. It was hard to really celebrate it, but it also was a moment to honor Kobe's life. And the Lakers did just that. They came out there and they looked absolutely phenomenal. It was the Lakers that we all knew that they could be, and we got to see it on a very, very special day. And we got to see that scoreboard for a couple of seconds say, 8-24. It was something super special. LeBron said he knew it. And the Lakers looked really good on a day that really, really mattered to them.
Yeah, and they almost scored 81 points in the first half. Got to 80. They almost scored 81 points in the first half. No shocker. I mean, the truth is this series should be over.
Should it be?
Yeah, if the Lakers make shots in game 1, the series is over.
Yeah.
I mean, that was really what it's not like Portland played amazing defense in game 1 or anything. I mean, Portland hasn't played good defense at all during the bubble. The Lakers just missed a gazillion shots in game 1, a gazillion wide open shots. This series should be over. Damian Lillard, get well soon. Don't know if you'll be able to play in game 5. Everything you're reading, hearing is that he's probably not going to be able to go in game 5. But get well soon, Damian Lillard. His performance, everything that he's done in the bubble has been amazing. But the Lakers should close this out tomorrow night against Portland. But yes, they put on an amazing performance on Kobe Day.
Yeah, Anthony Davis, the Los Angeles Lakers, when it comes to the defense, LeBron, I mean, guys were just hitting down shots. There, Portland was turning the ball over. Portland looked miscombobulated, and you don't want to say they ran out of gas because what Portland has done in Orlando has been phenomenal. But it looks as if that with the Zach Collins injury, it affected them. And now with Damian Lillard, he already had the dislocated finger. He went out yesterday with the knee injury. Had to get an MRI. Now it does look like, this Portland team has a lot of things that they, going into game 5 that could really, really affect them. And I know you said that was going to be a sweep, and here we are still talking about them. You have to give some credit to Portland for what they've been able to do.
It's going to be a gentleman's sweep.
Now you call it just something different.
It's going to be the gentleman's sweep. No, look, you do have to wonder with Damian Lillard. I mean, Portland I guess the phrase, they have gone balls to the wall for now almost a month straight, and you do have to wonder if maybe that played a factor in Lillard's injury, because it was a non-contact injury that he suffered in that knee. He has been giving it everything he's got nonstop every other day. They've been playing for almost a month straight now, and you do wonder if that played a factor into it.
Well, we shall see when it comes to game 5. I will say that the Lakers saved the best for a very special day. So it just makes sense of like how it all happened. It makes it even more special. I'm with you now. I thought Portland did give them a run. They did give them a run. They made it a little difficult for them, but I think the Lakers will take this series away with it, especially now with what Portland's dealing with. And a team that went home over the weekend was the 76ers. Philly was swept by the Boston Celtics, and then Monday the news that we kind of expected. Brett Brown has been fired from the organization as a head coach. Now that head coach vacancy job is open. I mean, obviously Philly has a lot of figuring things out because we've been trusting this process. Joel Embiid's been trusting this process, but there's a lot of money on the table, especially when it comes to next season. And there's a lot of guys. This is the roster that you're going to have. And a lot of names have been thrown out there. Who do you see potentially being a good fit for this head coaching job?
Well, Tyronn Lue seems to be the guy that they're going to target, but it also seems like he's going to have his options. I would just say, as far as the Sixers go, people still calling it they abandoned the process
The process is over.
They abandoned it a couple years ago when the league conspired with the ownership group of the 76ers to force Sam Hinkie out of there, and they did a complete 180. When Jerry Colangelo came in and then hired his son, Brian Colangelo, they did a complete 180 from the process. And that was where Sam Hinkie valued first-round picks big time. They completely did a 180 and just started handing them out everywhere. They traded an unprotected Sacramento first-round pick. They attached that to the deal to move up to 1 and take Markelle Fultz. They attached 2 first-round picks to get, along with Landry Shamet, who also was a first-round pick of theirs, and sent him to the Clippers for Tobias Harris. They attached 2 early second-round picks for half a season of Ish Smith. They completely abandoned the process once Sam Hinkie was out of there. And then you see their front office and that ownership group, the trades that they have made, that is not Brett Brown's fault, the moves that they have made. And then they, now Jimmy Butler and Brett Brown butted heads, but Brett Brown came out and said that, yes, he would coach Butler, that if they decided to keep Butler, yes, he would coach him, and they would do their best to get along and everything. But they made the decision to let Jimmy Butler go to Miami, and you see how that paid off for him. They've got a lot of decisions to make. I don't think the head coach is going to be the issue with the 76ers. The roster that they choose to field next season is going to be their issue. Signing Al Horford to that ridiculous contract, that's a problem that they're going to have to attach draft picks to if they want to get off of it. Elton Brand has said he's come out today and said they are not getting rid of Ben Simmons. They're not getting rid of Joel Embiid, which understands you're going to have a new coach come in. You're going to let that coach get his chance with this roster. Tobias Harris also has an insane amount of money left on his contract, and honestly, he's not worth the money he's getting paid, but you're worth what a team's willing to pay you, and the 76ers are willing to give him a ridiculous amount of money, almost $200 million. So their coach is their biggest thing they have going forward are the roster decisions.
Yeah, but when you can't try to figure that out, someone's got to be the fallout guy. It's always a coach. Right now, it is Brett Brown. There's been some rumblings about Jay Wright being an option. He's already there in Philly. Villanova, Philly loves him for what he's been able to do at Villanova. Jay Wright hasn't come out and said anything. I do think that would be
he ain't going anywhere. He isn't going anywhere. He's not leaving Villanova. He's got a team that can win the national championship again this year.
Yeah, he's got a good gig, and he's mentioned that before. Like it's a wonderful place to be. I just think it would be a phenomenal move if they're able to get him. Juwan Howard, that was a talk, but then Juwan Howard came out and said, "Oh no, I'm good at Michigan. I'm not exploring my options. I'm not exploring my options." He didn't say people were exploring him though, so it could be totally different. But the nature of potentially getting a younger coach in there who can kind of relate with these younger guys like a Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, and to figure out how that can mesh, I do think that might be a move. This the old school coaching style. I don't think it'll work for them. Joel Embiid's so vocal, he's emotional, he's always speaking out about different things. Who's going to come in there and work with this group? Because I don't, obviously Philly wants to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. They want to be in the finals. Let's be real. And so how do you get to that level, especially when you have the Celtics, the Raptors, the Nets next year, and their head coaching job is open? There's a lot of different things that they have to figure out. I don't know if this roster for next year is the roster if they don't try to make some significant moves, but they said they're not. Who knows? It seems like it's kind of a mess that started a couple of years ago, and now it's kind of formulating, and now we're all seeing it just kind of explode. But they still do have a good group of guys. Like, at the end of the day, they do have a good group of guys and talent. And if they're all healthy, not injured.
Yeah, I mean, they still have Ben Simmons and they still have Joel Embiid. You have two guys. And while they haven't necessarily been a total great fit together because neither one of them can stretch the floor, Embiid tries to. He just hasn't been able to make them yet.
Yeah.
That's been their down. Like, at one point, they had Ersan Ilyasova, and they had J.J. Redick, and, they still have Korkmaz, but, and they had Marco Bellinelli. They had guys who could space the floor. Like, that's what they need. If you're going to have two guys like Embiid and Simmons who are not shooters, you need to put three shooters around those guys so they can space the floor. And Tobias Harris is not a horrible three-point shooter. He takes 5 a game and he shoots almost 37%. He's not a bad one, but he can't be your only one. Your only three-point threat cannot be a 36.7, 36.8% three-point shooter. That cannot be your only threat from the outside.
And then you're trying to force Ben Simmons to make some threes. You're like, hey, shoot some threes. Please come out here and shoot some threes.
Absolutely.
Well, it's the offseason for them, and we don't know how long the offseason is going to be, so they have some time to figure it out, and some head coaching jobs are opening up left and right. So time will tell who will get that coveted job to go in there and try to fix things. Roser, another day of games all week. We'll be back next week to give you our stances and all the latest going around the world. Everyone stay safe. Roser, drink some Mountain Dew. You need some more energy. I can tell. You need some more energy.